She's brilliant but unstable. I'll handle the demo alone. If she melts down, we say it's a personal emergency. Clean and quiet." I froze mid-step. That voice, the smug, calculated tone I knew all too well, floated through the slightly ajar conference room door. I wasn't supposed to hear it. I wasn't even supposed to be on this floor yet. But there it was. My co-founder. My fiancé. My biggest mistake. Cameron Voss. 6 years ago, we started Lighthaven Technologies together from the corner booth of a dingy diner in Santa Cruz. I had the vision, the prototypes, the roadmap. He had connections, charisma, and an unnerving ability to say exactly what people wanted to hear. I was the architect. He was the pitchman. At least, that's what I told myself. Over and over. Long enough for it to feel like truth. I leaned closer, my breath caught in my throat. "Just get through the summit," Cameron was saying to someone, probably Lila from marketing. "Then we push her out. We'll tell the board she's burned out. A medical leave, maybe. A graceful exit. Everyone wins." Graceful. Like I was a loose thread to be clipped and swept away. I should have barged in. Should have screamed. Should have thrown his espresso in his smug, tan face. But instead, I backed away slowly, like prey in a forest, careful not to make a sound. My heart pounded so hard I thought the sound might betray me. We were days away from the Pacific Bay Tech Summit, our make-or-break moment. Lighthaven had been invited to demo our real-time fraud detection platform to a room full of VCs, CTOs, and media. A live pitch. One shot. I had built every algorithm, every predictive model, every line of core code bore my fingerprint. And now Cameron wanted me off the stage, and out of my own company. Let me back up. My name is Tess Calder. I'm 34, a data systems engineer by trade, and someone who used to believe that shared ambition meant shared loyalty. I met Cameron at a Stanford entrepreneurship panel. He was the guest speaker, fresh from a failed but very loud AI startup, dripping charm and ego in equal measure. I was presenting research on neural anomaly detection in financial systems. We collided over coffee. By the end of the month, we were inseparable. He told me I had foundational genius, and that he knew how to package it. I didn't realize until much later that what he meant was leverage it. We moved fast, co-founding Lighthaven within 5 months. My savings, his investor network. My code, his face. And slowly, subtly, he began to shift the narrative. From Tess and Cameron to Cameron and his team. He'd laugh off my frustration. "You know how the media works, babe. They need a name, a face. I'm just the icebreaker. You're the whole damn ship." And I believed him. Until I heard that conversation. Until I realized I was the ship he planned to scuttle. That night I didn't sleep. I lay in our San Francisco condo, watching the Bay Bridge lights flicker across the dark water, and made a decision. I wasn't going to stop him. I was going to let him try. Let him think I'd crumble. Let him stand in front of 100 industry leaders thinking he'd stolen my moment. And then I'd take everything. The next morning, Cameron kissed my forehead like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't overheard him plotting my removal. Like he wasn't planning to gut me out of the company I bled for. He handed me a cappuccino, my favorite, oat milk, cinnamon on top, and said with his signature movie star grin, "Big day. Press rehearsal at 10. You ready, superstar?" Superstar. I took the coffee, smiled, nodded, pretended. I'd spent the night replaying everything. Every meeting where he interrupted me. Every investor call where I was the quiet genius in the corner. Every late night I'd coded while he schmoozed. Every time he took my whiteboard models and turned them into slick keynote decks with his name on them. How long had he been planning this? Had I ever really mattered to him? Or had I just been the golden goose he'd planned to cook from the start? At 10 a.m., we arrived at the summit rehearsal at the Altair Hotel downtown. The ballroom was lined with banners from companies 10 times our size. Google Cloud, Brex, Palantir. Cameron walked like he owned the place. And then he introduced me as his tech lead. Not co-founder. Not partner. Just another employee. I could feel the blood leave my face. The VC from Aridin Ventures, Natalie Coe, raised an eyebrow. She knew who I was. We'd exchanged technical papers just a month ago. But Cameron kept talking, dominating the room with empty confidence and buzzwords. Seamless, AI native, built for scale. It was like watching a politician bluff through a press conference. He clicked through the demo slides I'd written. He showcased the results I'd simulated. And the room clapped. That afternoon, I slipped away to the women's lounge off the mezzanine. Locked the stall. Opened my laptop. I started forwarding things to myself. Source code commit histories. Architectural diagrams. Internal Slack messages. Cameron's edits to our pitch deck, where he'd systematically erased my name. And then an email thread from 3 days ago, marked private, with the subject line. Transition plan draft. The attachment was a proposal to the board. The highlights. Tess Calder to take extended leave due to emotional instability. Cameron Voss to assume interim CTO and lead spokesperson role. IP to remain under Lighthaven umbrella, with proprietary protection ensured. And at the very bottom, in Lila's careful PR voice. We believe Tessa's narrative can be shifted gently toward the brilliant but exhausted founder trope. Audiences will sympathize. Sympathize. Like I was some manic genius to be pitted and buried under soft lighting and vague statements. I closed my laptop. Stared at the marble floor. And I didn't cry. I grinned. Because that was the moment I stopped being hurt. And started being dangerous. By nightfall, I had a plan. First, I called my friend Zach, a cybersecurity analyst I'd worked with during my postdoc at Caltech. He owed me. I asked him to do a quiet sweep of our AWS logs and check for any unauthorized admin changes. Second, I activated an old sandbox environment Cameron didn't know existed, my private testing server. It held every original model I'd written, every iteration, time-stamped and logged. Third, I called Asha Duval, my former mentor and now legal counsel for one of the summit's hosting partners. I told her everything. I didn't ask her to intervene, just to watch. You're playing with fire, Tess, she said. No, I replied. He is. I'm just the match. 2 nights before the summit, Cameron left for a last-minute drinks meeting with VCs. I stayed behind in the condo and recorded my final layer of protection. A screen capture of my own demo walkthrough, with a timestamp, showing the live backend, real-time anomaly scoring, and proprietary detection clusters. Mine. All mine. It was a chess game now. And I'd just moved my queen into position. The day of the summit arrived with eerie calm. I woke up at 5:47 a.m. without an alarm. The sky over San Francisco was still the color of wet ash. Cameron was already in the shower, humming something vaguely Sinatra under his breath. As if this was just another pitch. Just another crowd to charm. I brewed coffee. Double espresso for him. Herbal tea for me. I wasn't taking any chances. I stared at the 2 mugs on the counter. His had CEO in progress printed on the side. One of those joke gifts I'd bought him 2 years ago when we first raised seed funding. It didn't feel like a joke anymore. I carried his mug to his side of the island and set it down gently. I didn't poison it. But I wanted him to wonder if I had. We arrived at the Pacific Bay Tech Summit at 9:20 a.m. The ballroom was buzzing, sleek suits, lanyards, camera crews, and the soft hum of venture money in motion. This was the biggest tech demo day on the West Coast. One good pitch here could land $10 million. One bad one. Well, it could vaporize a company overnight. Our presentation was scheduled for 11 a.m. Cameron, dressed in a crisp navy jacket and pale blue shirt I'd picked out for him months ago, was beaming at everyone who made eye contact. I was by his side, all black, blouse, slacks, heels, eyeliner sharp enough to draw blood. We set up our table in demo row. While Cameron was giving interviews to 2 local tech bloggers, I synced the final version of our demo to both laptops. But only one version had the working neural engine. The other, his, was a shallow shell. A mimic. Designed to fail. Meanwhile, I checked my recording app. Running. Timestamp synced. Microphone hot. The audio would pick up everything, his voice, my voice, and most importantly, who took credit for what. At 10:50 a.m., a summit staffer led us backstage to mic up. Cameron looked relaxed, flashing a winning smile at a senior partner from Apex Gradient Capital, who was waiting nearby. He turned to me. You good? He asked. I nodded. You lead the intro. I'll jump in when we get to the architecture. Perfect, he said, squeezing my shoulder. Just follow my lead. That was the last time he would ever tell me that. The ballroom lights dimmed. The announcer called our names. Please welcome to the stage, from Lighthaven Technologies, Cameron Voss and Tess Calder. We walked out to polite applause and the glare of stage lights. Cameron stepped to the mic first, cool and polished. Thank you for having us. At Lighthaven, we believe fraud detection should be anticipatory, not reactive. Using our proprietary AI engine, we identify anomalous behavior in under 3 milliseconds. Today we'll show you how. He clicked to the next slide, System Architecture, and gestured to me. Showtime. I stepped forward. My voice was steady. What we've built isn't just another scoring model. Our engine clusters behavior into dynamic profiles using live feedback loops, adapting faster than traditional rules-based systems. No human intervention, just real-time adaptation. The room leaned in. The Apex partner scribbled notes. I continued. Our demo will simulate live data from a financial exchange, using anonymized event streams to test detection speed and precision. Cameron nodded and took back the mic. Let's fire it up. He clicked. The screen blinked. Buffering. Still buffering. Then nothing. That's strange, Cameron muttered, forcing a smile. He clicked again. Just a little tech hiccup. 1 second. He leaned over his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. Still nothing. A long pause. The crowd shifted in their seats. Tess, he whispered through clenched teeth, his mic still hot. What the hell is this? Where's the live feed? It's in the version on my machine, I replied sweetly. Would you like me to run it? He looked up, his smile cracking. A few people in the front row noticed. That was the beginning of the unraveling. I calmly stepped over to my laptop, mirrored the screen, and launched the correct instance. Within 3 seconds, the UI populated with simulated live transactions, color-coded anomaly alerts, and real-time response indicators. Flawless. The audience clapped, some out of relief, some out of genuine awe. I walked them through the logic of the model, pointed out the decision tree splits, explained the threshold calibrations. The room was silent, focused. This was mine. All of it. Cameron stood frozen, clutching a dead laptop and a dying illusion. I could see the realization dawning in his eyes. I wasn't going to melt down. I wasn't unstable. I was the company. The demo ended with a burst of applause. Not polite. Not obligatory. Earnest. A woman from Helix Capital approached me the moment we stepped off stage. That adaptive anomaly logic. That was your design? I smiled. Every line of it. Cameron stood just behind me, still clutching the dead laptop like it might suddenly redeem him. Backstage, his mask slipped. What the hell did you do? He hissed, eyes wide, voice low. I tilted my head. I saved us from an embarrassing failure. You're welcome. You gave me a broken build on purpose. I didn't deny it. Just looked at him like he wasn't quite worth the oxygen in the room. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the afternoon, but I could see the panic building in his posture. His shoulders curled inward. His jaw locked. He knew. He'd walked into the arena expecting a coup. Instead, he'd broadcast his own irrelevance to the most influential people in Silicon Valley. That evening, we were invited to the summit's private investor dinner. Rooftop terrace, warm string lights, soft jazz in the background. Cameron showed up late. His tie was gone and his confidence with it. I, on the other hand, was already mid-conversation with Natalie Coe from Eridan Ventures, explaining our upcoming Series B roadmap and the deployment potential of our fraud engine in crypto markets. Natalie leaned in, smiled, and said, "You know, I'd always assumed he was the founder." I smiled back. Easy mistake to make. That night, back in our condo, Cameron paced the living room like a caged animal. I don't get it. You sabotaged me. You embarrassed me in front of the entire tech community. I didn't respond. Just watched him. He was unraveling. The confident, golden boy persona collapsing under the weight of failure he didn't know how to carry. They were supposed to see you crack, he finally said. And there it was. The admission. My phone was still recording, right where I'd left it on the credenza. The next morning, at 7:34 a.m., I sent a single email with 3 attachments. A copy of Cameron's internal memo proposing my removal due to instability. The screen recording of my solo demo run during the summit. An audio file labeled Personal Recording, March 14th. Subject line. Clarification of leadership and IP ownership, Lighthaven Technologies. Recipient. All board members. Our legal team. 2 major investors. No commentary. No emotion. Just facts. The response came within the hour. From the chairman of the board. Tess, we'd like to schedule an emergency session today. We have some serious concerns to discuss with Cameron regarding conduct, attribution, and company structure. By noon, Cameron was suspended pending review. By the end of the week, he was gone. Fired. Stripped of equity, he couldn't prove contribution toward. Removed from all accounts and comms. His keycard deactivated. He tried to spin it, told press it was a mutual parting, that he was moving on to new ventures. But tech circles talk. Everyone knew. The boy wonder who tried to outmaneuver his own co-founder had been beaten at his own game. By the woman he thought was too soft to fight back. 6 months later, I sit in the corner office of our new HQ in downtown San Francisco, overlooking the Embarcadero. Sunlight spills across my desk, lighting up the sleek Lighthaven logo behind me. The new logo. No more lowercase sans serif with Cameron's initials hidden in the negative space. Just clean geometry and confidence. Mine. We closed our $12 million Series B round 2 months ago. Aridin Ventures led it. Natalie Ko shook my hand personally. Our valuation tripled after the summit. I signed 3 new enterprise clients, 2 of whom were originally Cameron's contacts. They'd seen the demo. They'd seen who delivered. They knew who the founder was. Cameron tried to sue, of course. Claimed wrongful termination. Claimed IP theft. But it was hard to argue when you'd been caught on tape plotting a co-founder's removal, while demonstrating zero technical contribution to the product itself. My lawyers buried him in documentation. Commit histories. Patent filings. Contractual roles. His signature on every agreement confirming I was lead architect. The case never made it to court. He settled. Quietly. And cheaply. As for the internal culture, I rebuilt everything. Rewrote the org chart. Promoted our lead engineer, Casey, to VP of Product. Brought in Asha Duval as legal counsel full-time. Instituted transparent equity tracking, founder protection clauses, and mandatory co-founder mediation protocols for all future startups we advise. We'd learned the hard way. No one else on my team would have to. Sometimes late at night, I still think about that morning backstage. The lights. The applause. The moment when Cameron realized he'd lost control of the story. He thought the world would see me as unstable, fragile, disposable. Instead, they saw me for what I am. The mind behind the machine. The woman who built the future. And refused to let anyone steal it. I never texted him. Never emailed. Never said I told you so. I didn't need to. Because every news article, every panel invite, every headline with my name in the byline, was its own kind of justice. And in the end, the sweetest revenge wasn't sabotage or destruction. It was simple. I won.